You may have heard of ethnic or religious groups running their own police forces as well as their own court systems, essentially keeping their religious dogma under wraps and out of police statistics. So, welcome back to Starkey Farmstead, friends and family of the internet, and fellow watchers on the wall. Today, we're going to talk about the fact that in America right now, there's something called Sharia court laws, Sharia court, where Muslims go to discuss problems with other Muslims and sometimes non Muslims. We're going to talk about the fact that they have their own police forces made up of civilians walking around major cities propagating their religion. Could you imagine what would happen in America if, say, the Christians decided we were going to separate out, have our own court systems, our own school systems, our own civilian Christian police forces, and we were going to force the federal and state to pay for it? What would happen in this country? We would be called a nationalist, racist, and everything else. But there's something most people are missing in this story. You're focusing on the Muslims because, well, that is what Donald Trump and MAGA told us to focus on, right? I know. I was once part of that group. You're missing that the Jews do the exact same thing. That there are Jewish police forces in communities with police cars that are paid for with federal grants. They listen in on the police radio and they respond to police calls as if they had a right to in a majority community full of Jews. Your tax dollars are paying for busing to private Jewish schools and private Muslim schools. Your tax dollars. I'm making this video because the fact that the majority of people know Sharia law but don't know Noahide law is shocking to me. And I am going to push back against the darkness. So, welcome back to Starkey Farmstead, friends and family. My name is Samantha Starkey. I am a military mother. I am a Christian and I am a citizen of the United States of America. I'm not a citizen of the Middle East, regardless of what country it is. And I am to the point in my adult life now that I don't think we should be allowing anyone, regardless of their country, into the United States that comes from the Middle East. They cannot shed their nonsense. They do not want to be held to account for their bad behavior. Both Jews and Muslims have some very twisted ideology about little girls and women. And they don't want to come to America and allow women the same stinking rights. And I'm going to prove it to you, both of them. And I'm sick of it. So here we got an article. This article was written in April of 2025, less than a year ago. Muslim community patrols in New York City to enforce Sharia law since 2018, dressed as police and driving cars that resemble the New York Police Department. These patrols have been enforcing rules based on Islamic law, including warnings against activities such as drinking alcohol and designated Muslim areas where it is prohibited. The presence and actions of these patrols have been reportedly expanded since 2018. There are many concerns being raised by local residents, and the patrol's enforcement of Sharia law and their police-like appearance have prompted discussions about their role and legitimacy within the city. So, of course, the New York City residents are alarmed by this. But, friends, to just focus on the Muslims is racist. It absolutely is, because here you have something called the Shomrim volunteers. These are this is Lakewood, New Jersey, a volunteer public safety group will receive $275,000 in federal funding to modernize its radio communication infrastructure. So a congressman, Chris Smith, who is a Republican, announced this week. The funds are part of a broader $23.8 million package Smith secured for Ocean and Monmouth counties through congressional earmarks included in the newly approved federal budget. The Shomrim, a long-established community organization that works closely with the Lakewood Township Police Department and the Ocean County Sheriff's Office and the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office, plays a crucial role in assisting law enforcement with missing person searches, emergency response, and public safety patrols. So who are these people? Right? Like, who are these people? Because the funds they're getting will go toward critical law enforcement equipment and technology upgrades. Huh. Who are these people, you ask? Well, they're Jews. It is the truth. And in Brooklyn, this is New York, the same civilian security service is getting new patrol cars. Look at this. Don't they look like they're police officers? So why is it a big deal when it's Muslims? And why is it not a big deal when it's Jews? Because they got $400,000. New York has provided $400,000 to 4 civilian Jewish security services in Brooklyn, known as Shomrim. The funding comes from the UJA, Federation of New York, and a group of unnamed donors. This effort will bolster security presence in areas where Jews are an easy target for would-be assailants. Hold on. You're in America. Let me show you guys something. This is why a new move is required, establishing a Jewish People's Guard, not a local organization, not a security company, and not a temporary initiative, but a permanent global structure that creates an international Jewish safety net. Such a system would connect communities around the world with State of Israel and official security bodies. It would enable rapid emergency responses, provide orderly training for community response teams, and identify incitement process before they turn violent. A Jewish People's Guard would create a global alert mechanism, provide unified protocols, and build an efficient defensive capability, working in full coordination with governments, local law enforcement, and key allies, especially in the U.S. No. America used to be known for our local militias, but we got called racist. The federal government started to fight with local militias. States started passing laws saying you can't have local militias, even though it's in our Constitution. Imagine if a bunch of white Christian men started backup militias, hint, hint, white Christian, black Christian men, get together, start militias. Now listen to this. This is in New Jersey where they have these special Jewish police.
In America, 1 month ago.
Excuse me, sir. What are you doing? Should I call the cops on you? Okay, that's it. I'll be back.
Oh, brother.
Nobody wants you here. Please move out.
That's me getting the cops sicked on me in Lakewood, New Jersey, one of the largest Orthodox Jewish communities in America. 1 month ago, I made a video in a Jewish village in upstate New York and was called an anti-Semite for questioning anomalously high welfare usage among Jews with massive families.
Look around. You will not see a non-Jewish resident here.
We got the Yiddish bus.
This is really all Jewish stores. The pizza place, it's going to be kosher pizza.
Tell me about Lakewood. Good place to live?
Amazing place to live. There's so much Jewish life here. It's so easy to be Jewish.
Happy Shabbos, man.
You too. Enjoy.
All right, have fun.
Tyler! I love you, Tyler! Tyler is the GOAT!
So people are moving.
God bless you.
Tyler!
You should go because
You should
you're stopping traffic. Let's go. Move on.
He's stopping traffic, not me.
Yeah, right. No. You should move on. Nobody wants you here. Please move out.
He was saying, Tyler, he loves me.
Any person from any race has a right to have children.
Why
Besides,
do I have to pay for it? That's all I'm asking.
understand, I'm
Why
just
do I have to pay for it? Answer that.
Elon Musk has 12 kids. Why can't I have 12 kids?
He pays for it.
Your story point over here is that people can't have children if they can't afford them.
You should not have more kids than you can afford. You're arguing that I should pay for your kids.
I'm not arguing that I don't have kids.
You are.
I'm arguing that the government said.
No, that's our money. I pay taxes.
Like you discovered that anti-Semitism is lucrative, huh?
Why do you think anything that you don't like to see is anti-Semitism?
Trying to twist it to make it look like we're doing fraud. This is going to make you a lot of money, and it's going to jump a lot of hatred towards the community that's seeing a rise in anti-Semitism.
So speaking, I'm so glad he brought up fraud. Let me show you what I just found.
When the word spreads in the community that this can happen, then people get panicky.
Rabbi Moshe Weisberg says Lakewood's Orthodox Jewish community is in a panic after law enforcement busted 7 couples in connection with a welfare fraud sting. On Monday, officers from the county prosecutor went to the upscale Olive Court home of Rabbi Zelman and Zipporah Sorotskin and arrested them for theft by deception of more than.
Let me tell you something. If this does not show up in the thing, they have been really lately when I put a video up, they go back and they remove tons of it as it's uploading. So if this is not there, this will all be on my X account, but it'll also be listed in the description of the video, which you can find under the title.
$338,000 in Medicaid, food stamps, rental assistance, and SSI. Also arrested on the same charges at their home on Blue Jay Way, Mordecai and Yaakov Breskin for alleged theft of almost $586,000 in welfare benefits.
I'm from NJTV News. Could we talk to you, please?
No one answered questions at the Hadassah Lane home of Shimon and Yaakov Nussbaum, arrested by federal agents, and Rachel and Mordecai Sorotskin, charged by the FBI with collecting federal benefits despite earning millions. On Wednesday, officers swooped in and arrested 3 more couples charged with the same offenses. The 14 defendants allegedly defrauded almost $2 million in welfare benefits. That when Lakewood's Mayor Ray Cole says there's a waiting list for Section 8 vouchers.
To see something like this happen is just like a knife in the heart. There's so many people out there who need the help. When things like this happen, it turns people against everybody.
Court documents indicate that the suspects basically declared themselves to be poverty-stricken, all the while earning tens of thousands of dollars more. The alleged fraud often involved hidden income, bogus applications, and dicey financial records.
Is there a pervasive attitude of bend the rules?
I don't know if I would use the term bend the rules. I would say there's a pervasive attitude that, if there are programs out there and that they can help me out, let me try to get those programs.
Weisberg's a member of Lakewood's VOD, a local Orthodox Jewish council. He says it's been fielding a barrage of calls from members of the Orthodox community who are now worried they could be targeted because of a careless attitude towards using government benefits. He said
it's not a careless attitude. They are committing fraud. But wait, we got to focus on the Somalians, Sam. No, friends. This is how they get out of not having to, basically follow the same rules you and I do.
That hasn't been seen in years.
You know I'm not an anti-Semite.
I don't know that.
Come on. You use that as a weapon.
Excuse me. What are these pictures for? Excuse me, sir. What are you doing? Should I call the cops on you? Okay, that's it. I'll be
Why do they all sound so feminine? Excuse me.
back.
Let's hear it.
Okay. You two gentlemen, they asked not
Fair
to
enough.
come back.
Amazing.
If you come back, it'll be a
Trespass
trespassing charge. You're
Fair
trespassing.
enough. If this guy doesn't even know what the First Amendment is, don't be a joker, bro. Come on. They're gonna follow us.
There's a special response unit. They're gonna just trail us around.
Our camera guys are getting the cops pulled up on them. Let's see what's going on. Did I get the cops called on me again?
Yes.
What's the problem?
Everybody's skittish.
Listen, we've met each other a few times now.
Yeah.
We're not trying to cause me trouble. So anyways, am I under arrest?
You're under arrest.
All right.
Yeah, so the cops have to respond because these people, your taxpayers, and this is in North London, so British people, we're having the same problems you guys are. Jews in North London had their own neighborhood watch called Shomrim. that extends to them having police-style cars and uniformed patrols that are funded by taxpayer money. How is this even flipping legal? These people don't belong in the West, man. In first, U.S. Jewish security outfit opens boot camp for volunteer synagogue guards. New community security service facility drills trainees in surveillance, intel, and threat response. Imagine if Christians did this. Now let's talk about the Muslims again.
They're alarmed after seeing Muslim community patrols driving through their neighborhoods in what looked like police squad cars. One America's Pearson Sharp has the details.
New Yorkers say they're shocked after seeing Muslim patrol cars roaming their neighborhoods like police squads. These Muslim community patrols just began operating in Brooklyn this year, with members dressed like police officers and driving cars identical to police squad cars. Even other Muslims have raised questions about the need for the patrols, with residents expressing fears this is just another form of Sharia law enforcement. Area. Others denounce residents for drinking, claiming this is a Muslim area and alcohol is not permitted.
They're alarmed after seeing Muslim.
They're both doing it, but you only ever see one side of it.
That we, England, would have come to this. A Christian country. We have now got Sharia law patrol cars driving round certain parts of the country in the where the Labour constituencies are, been approved by Labour. Unbelievable. Sharia law patrol cars.
I wonder if she ever came back and did a video on the Jewish patrol cars. Like these, Brooklyn's private Jewish patrols wield power. Some call them bullies. How is nobody talking about this?
I spotted these dudes tracking us. Turns out I had summoned the Shomrim police, the Jewish community.
Shomrim. Okay, correct myself. Shomrim.
Community's internal police force that receives both federal funding and township funding. Hey, how you guys doing? You guys want to say what's up?
What's up? What's up? And we got multiple calls. Same reason why PD got calls.
Okay.
So that's it. We're just gonna follow you around. We're gonna let everybody know that they don't have to talk to you.
With the Shomrim police on our back, it felt like we were being policed by a secondary form of law enforcement that seemed to exclusively defend the interests of the Jewish community. I spotted these.
How is this illegal in America? But let's go deeper, friends and family. Let's really talk about this, okay?
Curious Shoel. The Amish, I want to make an important distinction between the Amish and the Hasidic Jews and Curious Shoel. The Amish pay for themselves.
Yes, they
They're
do.
Self-sustaining. They're not reliant on welfare programs funded by the taxpayer. I think it's exploitative by nature, though. Yeah, why don't you throw all your money at them and help sustain their lifestyle? Why do I have to take a cut of my paycheck to go towards Curious Shoel's insulated Hasidic Jewish community that has nothing to do with me? I'll never get anything out of. There's zero upside for them to exist for me.
The government makes criteria for getting financial aid. And if someone qualifies for that criteria, I'm not sure why when the Jew does it, you're calling it exploitive or taking advantage, but you don't say that to all the other people and populaces that don't have it.
Well, I've never seen anything of this scale to where the families are this large and it's sort of baked into their strategy of childhood.
So are you against having children, having a lot of children?
I'm pro-children. That's great. I think you should be able to afford it. How do they afford to raise such large families? How do they afford to study full-time? What are you arguing? That I have an obligation as a taxpayer to fund you and how many kids you want to have? If you want to have 30 kids, that's just how it is.
I'm arguing that if the law is set up to have certain criteria for people and it's according to children, then people who qualify for it are entitled to get it.
Remember the video I showed you where the rabbis were saying they were going to turn America into a welfare state? Yeah. Both the Muslims and the Jews do it. But look at American families. Our kids can't even afford homes, you guys. You've got to stop picking a side in this and realize that anyone from the East is here to exploit us. By the way, welcome to Texas. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. By the way, welcome to Texas again. I mean, let's all just put our butts in the air. And it's just as bad in these Jewish towns. They pray 3 times a day in people's private homes, blocking up entire neighborhoods. Yeah. But you know, this guy here, Tony, this is spreading across the U.S. If Americans knew how many U.S. cities have their own Muslim police forces enforcing morality Sharia law, how about how many United States cities that, you know, have Jewish police?
Imam Sadiq Center in the U.S. state of Michigan announced its new religious courses for young girls who have reached the age of taklif in a Facebook post on its webpage. Young girls between the ages of 8 to 12 take part in these courses to learn about their basic religious obligations such as the major and minor principles of Islam, Islamic ethics, hijab, and other Islamic rulings. It's worth mentioning that Imam Sadiq's Islamic Center in Michigan is one of the institute affiliated to the Office of the Grand Jurist, Grand Ayatollah Shirazi. May Allah prolong his life.
I don't even know what he just said. Half of what he sounded. Just. And this is Delaware starting, you know, the middle of their government with Sharia prayers.
So do not follow the lusts of your heart, lest you may avoid justice. And if you distort your witness or refuse to give it, verily God is ever well acquainted with what you do. Ya Allah.
Ridiculous. And we're allowing it. But then, you know, they are not courts, as we don't have Sharia law. They are arbitration councils to discuss disputes, the same as Beth Din in North London. So here is the thing that Christians are not understanding. How many Beth Din courts operate in the UK and the US, and why do they have their own legal system and police? And then it goes, well, how many Sharia law courts are there in the UK? Under the Arbitration Act of 1996, the Beth Din can provide arbitration to resolve civil disputes. The English legal system fully allows Jewish courts to function alongside the English courts in these matters. Let me tell you why. They're doing this because they don't want you to know what their people do that break U.S. law, like child abuse, child sexual abuse. Yes, in Australia, there are Jewish religious courts known as Beth Din. These courts operate in major cities like Sydney and Melbourne, serving the Jewish community for various religious and civil matters. They handle issues such as Jewish divorces, conversions, personal status, and disputes stemming from divorce, business, and community matters. Exactly what the Muslims have. And just so you guys know, 12 of the 13 states that started America in July 4th of 1776, they didn't just bar Jews, they barred Roman Catholics. You had to be an Anglican or a Congregational or a Protestant. Only one, Rhode Island, did not bar a specific religion from holding office, any form of office in this country. This is a Christian country. Yes, I know that we have crazy Mormons that got in the beginning. But guys, I'm telling you, we started this country to get away from the Roman Catholic Church, the Muslims, and the Jews. And now we're being overrun by all of them. And everything that had to do with Epstein, it was tried. Where it was tried, before you could even get the murder escape set up, you'd have to make sure Epstein was put somewhere where you could control the narrative and legal outcome to a degree. Somewhere like the Southern District of New York. This is why Epstein's case was brought in the Jewish stronghold of SDNY in the first place. He had a Jewish judge. He was basically in a Jewish prison. That way they could get him out of there. And I'm going to tell you guys now, Noahide law enforcement is taking root in America. This is not a game, goys. I am proud to nominate Yitta Kaplan as the United States Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. This is Donald Trump, who is also a Jew. Okay, get mad at me. I don't care. Jews have their own schools, their own abundances, their own police, their own luxury prisons in America. So they don't have to mix with Goyim. Yet they called you racist. Let that sink in. You paying for all of it, folks, just like you're paying for it with the Muslims, because they come here and they exploit our system. There are 3 Supreme Court justices today that are Jews. Let that sink in. Less than 2% of our population. In November of 2021, an open letter was sent to Brooklyn Synagogue to Rabbi Abraham Shemtov from the lawyer of the young girl that was abused from 5 years of age. Her father sought justice on her behalf through one of the Beth Din courts, right, which is a rabbinical court, and it was in Crown Heights, which was connected to the Chabad Lubavitch Church, who is also connected to all of those underground tunnels with bloody mattresses, but I'm not talking about that. Although the perpetrator admitted wrongdoing, she was not afforded the justice she deserved. Up until 2011, laws were never in place to report these crimes to authorities and police. Brooklyn's DA, Charles Hines, says that he prosecuted 96 sex assault suspects in the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community between 2009 and 2012 alone. Of the 53 closed cases, 13 were dismissed, 35 ended up in plea deals, and 5 went to trial, resulting in 4 convictions and 1 acquittal. They hide. Plus, this is a Jewish value. Whoa, South Carolina, cool it down with your anti-Semitism, will you? 430 Jewish organizations jointly filed a petition in the U.S. Supreme Court in Dobbs' case to keep abortion legal because it was a Jewish value. That was June of 2025. This is all fact. It is not fiction. It is not anti-Semitic. It is not my opinion. I am reading documented cases. This is for educational purposes only, YouTube. With media almost silent, this is in National Vanguard News. I'm reading a headline. Special Jewish Country Club prison releases all inmates. This was during COVID. The for Jews only media site Yeshiva World, but almost no one else, covered the story yesterday of the sudden closure of the country club-like federal prison camp located in New York State. All the inmates incarcerated there, incredibly, simply being sent home. So I told you guys about the ADL, that is an anti-defamation league. They're putting out Sunday school documents for Christians. So Jews get their own ethnic enclaves in states within states like Williamsburg in New York, or even down here in Florida. They have neighborhoods for Jews with Jewish Alliance centers at the head of the neighborhood, but they shriek in terror at the thoughts of whites being a collective race.
Parson expressing concern about a Muslim becoming president of the United States. Well, we decided to launch a special Hannity investigation to find out if American Muslims think that Sharia law should supersede the U.S. Constitution. Earlier today, we sent out Fox News contributor David Webb to an Islamic cultural center in New York City. Now watch this closely.
Your thoughts, should Sharia law supersede the U.S. Constitution? No, but I think the Sharia law it's made by God, by Allah, and the Constitution is made by people. So it's not the same.
Do you believe that Sharia law should be above the U.S. Constitution?
Yes. Yes.
Sharia law is completely different than the United States Constitution. As a Muslim, you practice my Islamic law. As a Muslim, United States Constitution, as a citizen, I have to respect the Constitution. Nothing to do with Sharia law. It's a Muslim country, Sharia law is allowed. Other country, no. You have to have a right Constitution.
Should any religious law supersede the U.S. Constitution at any time? Any denomination?
Maybe in the future.
The U.S. Constitution deserve all the people living in U.S. their rights, right? So Sharia law does not contradict with this. Sharia law just protect our dignified. We are like human being, be respectful. To be respectful in the society.
So you think that the U.S. Constitution should be the law of the land in the U.S.?
Also helpful to protect our Sharia.
Should Sharia law be over the U.S. Constitution?
Yes, maybe.
If you asked a bunch of Jews if Noahide laws or their religions should supersede the Constitution, they're also going to tell you yes. Here's what you need to understand. When I'm talking about the Beth Din Jewish courts of law, the Jewish people are told that it is a necessity to have them because they are a Torah obligation. They have been around since Sinai, right? That's what they say. When Moses went up and got the 10 commandments, they believe that all the other prophets were at the base of the mountain getting another set of oral tradition. There were once Sanhedrin. So do you guys know who the Sanhedrins are? Sanhedrins are the same people that keep awarding Donald Trump all these awards. The Prince of Peace, the Prince of Jerusalem awards. Yeah. In Talmudic times, high-level courts were known as Sanhedrin. It means assembly. It has meaning in Hebrew too. Sanhedrin is a composite of the term panem, and it means despising partiality. They require an odd number of judges. They used to be 3-tiered, right? So nowadays, every city is supposed to have a Beth Din. And then above that is the Sanhedrin small court. And above that is the Beth Din, right? I'm telling you guys. The Sanhedrin were the same people that took our Jesus out, man. You got to understand. And are they here in America? Yeah. Look, New York, Beth Din courts, right here. New York Beth Din is a rabbinical court that offers religious arbitration services for resolving financial, material issues or marital issues in accordance with Jewish law. You're in America, dude. But look, how is Sharia law practiced by Muslims in the United States? Right? It's not enforced as state or federal laws. American Muslims generally practice Islamic law in personal, religious, and private settings, while U.S. civil and criminal law retains legal supremacy. It's the same exact things. It's just a religious tribunal to resolve family, inheritance, and commercial disputes within the Islamic legal framework. So how can you have issues with one and not the other, Christians? Seriously. Americans, even if you're not Christian, how can you have issues with one but not the other? Right? The things you know, the things that you realize that you don't know, and then you know. Here's my problem with both of them. It keeps their people out of the American legal system. Therefore, they can defraud, they can steal from us, they can break our laws with impunity. You should go really look at what the Talmud talks about Goyim, which is you, and Gentiles. You should also go look and see what the Quran says about Christian people, and you'll realize that neither of these groups should be in this country. They have countries, both of them. The Jews have a country, and the Muslims have multiple ones. Why can't we have a country? What's wrong with that? Why is that wrong? And when you realize that it was Jewish nonprofits and the Roman Catholic Church that brought in all these Muslims to our country, it's mind blowing. So you say to me, well, Sam, why would Jews bring in the Muslims if the Muslims were always trying to get rid of them, right? Because it's all part of the plan. They have you looking at Sharia law, but never once has a United States president signed anything that would put Sharia law into practice in America. But the Noahide laws have been in plain sight since the 70s. Every president has signed the Educational Act, which is the framework for Noahide. And now every single state is looking at anti-Semitic laws. Every single state has taken an oath not to boycott any Jewish or Israeli company. Could you imagine if New York and New Jersey, and Texas all of a sudden passed a law that said you can't boycott Muslim countries? The Christians would be up in arms, but you don't have a problem with Israel? You better wake up, friends. I am solely a constitutionalist. Both of these, Sharia law and Noahide law, go against the U.S. Constitution. I am for freedom of religion. Nobody should be forced to worship any religion that you don't want to, because that would be the Antichrist system. Because my God, Christianity is the only religion that has free will. You are welcome to come or welcome to go. Not the same with Muslims, not the same with Jewish. Neither of those religions serve our God or have anything to do with our God, even though supposedly we all come from Abraham. Neither of those religions accept or even talk about Jesus Christ. So make your choice. But if I hear one more person say on my channel a ridiculous comment like, well, would you rather the Muslims? I would rather neither. Because I do my research. And I used to be an Israel first MAGA, but no more. No more. The Lord has opened my eyes, and I pray that he will do the same for you. I love you guys so much. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this video to wake everyone up, because they're going to try to shadow ban it. Thank you for your time.